So I think we're going to give an opportunity for some questions, Q&A, some questions and answers from the people who are here to Dr. Cywinski. So all I would ask you to do, obviously, there's a lot of questions we can't have all of them answered, but if you do have something you'd like to address to the doctor, I would ask if you could raise your hand. And if you are called on, please stand and try to make it a question and make it brief so that the doctor will have time to answer. Yes, please.
Maybe some microphone because it's
Sure.
Hi, thank you for your talk. I've had a question that I've held on to since I visited Auschwitz-Birkenau in the last few years, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to engage with you directly on it. You made a very impassioned plea for preservation. But at the same time that I visited Auschwitz-Birkenau, I spent time with the Beit Krakow community in Krakow, the progressive Jewish community run by young people who mostly learned of their Jewish identity as young people. I spent time with the JCC. I attended the Jewish Culture Festival and spent time with Janusz. If we lived in a world of infinite resources, your argument would make more sense to me. But when there is a Jewish community struggling to survive 45 minutes away from Auschwitz, I feel conflicted about the amount of energy going into preserving a shoe of a dead person, a dead Jew who we can remember, but maybe it's ashes to ashes and dust to dust, and that shoe is meant to go away, and you're fighting the forces of time that want the barracks to be absorbed into the earth. And maybe we are putting energy in the wrong place.
Thank you for your question. It's two completely different, I think, topics. Today in Poland, according to some, I don't know, numbers that are provided by the Jewish communities, there are maybe 8,000, maybe 12,000 Jews, I think no more. In Krakow, in Warsaw, in Łódź, in Wrocław, Poznań, Gdańsk, a small community from a few years in Lublin. I am working more with the Warsaw community of Jews from Warsaw because I am living in Warsaw, so I have some friends among them. But it's a different thing. I'm not sure that if we do something to save Auschwitz, it will necessarily help those small communities in the Polish cities. And I am not sure that if we don't do anything for Auschwitz, it will be, let's say, for them something more significant. It's some two completely different, let's say, tasks, and one will not exclude the other. Even, let me be a little bit provocative. Yes. I'm not really sure that the preservation of Auschwitz, but understand me well, is the main goal of this education about the Shoah has to be turned to the Jewish community. I think the biggest problem is the non-Jewish Europe and the non-Jewish world today. And I think that the understanding of this strategy, of the entire Shoah, of this policy of, let's say, normal cultural countries in Europe, will be maybe more important for the big Jewish community all around the world, Israel on the first step, and for the small communities in Poland also, or somewhere else. So I don't think that those two topics has to be, let's say, considered together.
Anyone else? Rob?
Well, I commend you on your
Please
excellent...
try, there are some older people, it will be easier for everybody.
I would commend you on your excellent work, and I think it's a worthwhile cause. The question I had is whether or not you have people who deny the existence of the Shoah coming, or deny the scope or scale of it, and how do you deal with it?
This question is coming back many times. I'm not sure that they are coming now. Maybe, what is his name, this English denier? Yeah, Irving sometimes apparently wanted to come. I don't know if he was coming because I'm unable to make let's say, a full security, you know. Even I don't know what people think when they are coming. I don't know what they are thinking. For me, the most important is not to understand what they are thinking, where they are coming, but what they are thinking when they are leaving. Especially for young people from France, from Germany, with many, let's say, people from, I don't know, North Africa or Middle East, in those classes. I'm really more focused on the knowledge of the sensitivities that they have when they leave. But we do not have many problems with the deniers now. In Europe, I think really the deniers, it was a big problem in the 80s mainly. In France, in Great Britain, in Lyon, for example, in the University of Lyon. In some other places also. Now, as I observe through the internet, there are still some functioning websites really denying the Shoah. In Australia, for example. Of course, I'm unable to understand the internet in Arabic languages or Persian or something like this. But it's not really a problem, and the neonazis are definitely not a problem also on the site. They're not coming. Sometimes it happens that there are people that I can, let's say, I don't know, identify as some extreme right from some countries, but it's happened from time to time. They are not coming without any symbols and provocative attitudes. I don't know if it's good or bad, of course. Maybe they're not coming because they approve it. I don't know. But in fact, it's not the most important question. And how to deal now with the deniers? You know, if you are speaking about Irving, he's an intelligent historian. He knows very well the sources, the historical documents. So I think he knows the history. His way to be a denier is a way to, I don't know, to present himself, maybe to make money, maybe to make, I don't know, some publicity around him. I'm not sure that in the deep of himself he's a denier. He knows too much. I'm not sure. And it's not my role to judge. No, I prefer to focus myself on the 99% who are coming with a goodwill, to understand and not to confirm or reject some crazy ideas. If somebody is not coming with a goodwill, you can't do anything in 3 or 4 hours. If you will focus on those people, you will lose your time, you will lose your efforts, it has no sense. We are trying to focus on the 99% people who are coming with a real volunteer to understand the history.
It's another question, perhaps an observation. I go on the March of the Living quite a lot. This will be probably my 20th time. And what I really experience, I'd like to speak to students from other countries. I see a Hungarian flag, I will speak to them, or a Slovak flag. Something that happened last March of the Living, for instance. I was at Block 21, I was being taped, and the door opened and a bunch of young people came out, and I asked them, does anybody speak English? And they said, yes, we speak English, and I asked them, where do you come from? And they said, they're from Germany. And I said, you know, I used to work in this building. They were absolutely stunned. And they said to me, are you Jewish? I said, can't you see? You know, it was a little bit perhaps, well, what I'm saying is, I said, what do you think of this place? They said, this is a very scary place. And they were really, truly shocked. They came out of Block 21, there was nothing inside right now. meeting some students from Shanghai. They were absolutely floored. I mean, they followed my group and Sholom in Birkenau. The police chief in Majdanek came out to the gas chamber and he almost fainted away. And I feel it is so important to preserve these things. Perhaps as a survivor, I feel the importance of this. That's, of course, the ruins, they speak for themselves as well. But I think it is very important to keep as much as possible. Perhaps all of it will not be able to preserve, but whatever is possible should be preserved. Thank you.
I think you touched something very, very important. You know, we are guiding in 17 languages, I think now. I don't know if you know any museum all around the world that is guiding in 17 languages, because our young people, we can't ask them to speak, I don't know, English or Hebrew or Polish. They are coming from all around the world, and they are very different. And this is something that is sometimes hard to understand. For me also it take time to understand this. The young people from Germany or from Austria has a terrible problem to visit this site. And you are also here to help them. How I understood that, it was for me a very, very deep and big experience. I was director, it was end of 2006. I think I was 3 months maybe on this position. Completely new, I was just learning, I was just observing, I was just trying to imagine what we can do in a site like this. And I received a phone call. He wanted to speak to the director, okay. He was speaking in relatively bad English, but my English is not very good, so we understood us quite well. He told me that he is calling from Germany. Okay. And he asked me if a man, he gave me the name of this man, was an SS in the camp. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was a well-known SS in the camp. Long silence, and he told me, apparently it was my father. The story of this man, nearly 70 years old, was like this. A few days before he called me, his mother died. And he found somewhere in their house a small box with some letters of his father, that he was thinking he was died somewhere in the front east during the Second World War. He never really saw him. He just had a family, let's say, tradition that his father was following as a soldier somewhere in Russia or in Ukraine or somewhere. He didn't know that he was an SS. And his mother died, and he discovered that all the, you know, all the familial history, all this vision of his father as a soldier was completely wrong. He was a terrible SS in Auschwitz. He didn't survive the war. He perished at the end. And you know, I was talking with somebody who was 70 years old, and he was nearly like a dying man, you know, because all his life, you know, disappeared. And I will remember every I think time when he asked me at the end of this relatively short discussion, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, he asked me if, certainly not now, but if one day he decided if he will have the right to visit Auschwitz, if he will have the right to visit Auschwitz. For me, it was a shock. It was really a shock. And I understood that there are really different cultures and different peoples and different, very strong and very hard perspectives that we have to help in this situation.
Last question.
Just very quickly, thank you so much. You've made a very powerful argument for preserving the original and having a quiet, contemplative museum without a lot of junk in it. But this is another question. A number of Holocaust museums and memorial museums generally take an activist stance. For example, the Holocaust Museum in Washington. And there's this whole network, the FIHRM, the Federation of International, Human Rights Museums. I was wondering whether your museum is a member of that, or whether you get involved in any of that, or whether you offer, just as you mentioned, a very serious contemplative experience.
Yes, there's many different museums all around the world, or memorials, or I don't know, educational centers, or I don't know, communities, initiatives, or chairs on universities, United States, in Canada, in Australia, in the whole Europe, in Israel, in South America. Now there are more and more new creations. In Japan, you have a Holocaust museum. It's something in Moscow. With some of them, we have some very good cooperation for many years. Yad Vashem, first of all, of course. Since 18 or 20 years, we send our guides and our educators every year to Yad Vashem, and they send their educators to us for 1 week or 10 days program. And this is something very important, because we are speaking about the same history. So we have to learn how to speak, let's say, together about this history. In order for the visitors of Yad Vashem will not learn a completely different history than in Auschwitz, or the inverse way. We have a very strong cooperation also with Washington, of course, for many years. Sarah Bloomfield, as well as Avner Shalev, are a member of our council, and I can't imagine not to compare, not to have strong programs of collaboration with those two biggest institutions outside of Poland. But there are now many others, and I do not really believe in some net cooperation, in some federation of institutions. I'm not sure that this is. Of course, it's good that they exist. Why not? They can maybe I don't know, find some way to meet people. But the real cooperation is between people. Even if we send our historians or educators to those meetings of different federation or groups of, it's more to find some real good people and to try to doing something at the bilateral, let's say, level together, because it's something completely different to I don't know, to work with some French institution with their history than with Anne Frank House, for example, or with I don't know, La Chomecha Getot in Jerusalem. It's a different kind of cooperation. We don't need a unification of all those histories. So I believe more in a humanity level of this cooperation, not really institutional. But maybe it's my perspective on it.
Did you only answer have to take an activist stance, for example, on things going on today? Do you take
No, we are not deliberate. On a deliberate way, we don't want to enter in some today's topics. It will be very easy to speak about Auschwitz in the perspective of Rwanda, or Kosovo, or human rights, or gender question, or I don't know what. But to be frank, I'm not really sure that I have the mandate of the victims to use their painful history and entering to some political issues of today. My role is more. My role is to show Auschwitz to the young people, to the people of today, and to ask them to take their responsibility in the world where they live. That don't mean that I don't go to Rwanda. I can go to Rwanda to give some lesson in Rwanda. I was, but not. There's nothing to compare between genocides, especially the Shoah.
May I have one more comment, Rabbi?
I don't have a choice. You're standing at the microphone.
At my age, I take liberties. I believe I may be the youngest survivor from Stoczek and Grodowski, and I may be the only survivor. I was 4 years old when I was born in Stoczek, which the most important thing about Stoczek is that our neighborhood extermination camp was Treblinka, 25 or 28 kilometers from our town. And I have never wanted to go back to Poland. I've been asked many, many times, why haven't you been back? 4 years ago, my granddaughters, I have twin granddaughters from 21, went on the march to Libya. I wanted to go with them. And they said to me, you know, Zadie, you cannot take it. Because I become very, very emotional with respect to anything concerning the Shoah. This year, my 16-year-old grandson is going. And I said to him, Moshe, I'm going with you. And he said, that's so important for you, meaning for me. It's important for him. What I found very interesting from your wonderful presentation is how important Auschwitz-Birkenau is, because it is what it is, and it is what it was. I've seen it at Yad Vashem, I've seen it at the Holocaust Memorial and Museum in Washington. But to live it when I come there this May is, to me, going to be the fulfillment of my survival. Will be, of course, in Helmno, it will be in Treblinka, it will be in Majdanek. And in Treblinka, I hope to find the stone of my little town, my little Stoczek. But in Auschwitz, I think I will find the redemption of the Shoah and what I have sort of passed over for so many, many years. And I've made a commitment that this May 2nd will be my first trip, but not my last. And I hope to be there many, many, many times. I'm so inspired by the work that you are doing and the community, the Polish community. It's just incredibly inspirational. Dziękuję bardzo.